Hi everybody, Peter Turner here from ConnexionCFO, and today I have with me Stuart Campbell, who is the founder of Aibly, which is a AI platform. I'm going to let Stuart talk a little bit about that. So, hi Stuart, thanks for joining us.
Hi Peter, thank you for having me.
No problem. And I guess the question I've got is AI has got this big wide remit. All sorts of people are looking to get into AI. Some of AI is just data mining. So what is Aibly, and how does it fit within that AI environment?
Aibly is a platform that was designed and built on what we identified as a need in the market. I think we've all seen AI growing at a phenomenal rate, and what we were seeing was that it was quite hard for businesses to grasp what that growth and change meant for them. And we also saw that it was actually quite difficult for businesses to become enabled. It's difficult to understand in simple terms what does AI, how does AI benefit my business, and how do we get that into our company safely? There's a lot of risk with AI, and the problem with AI, it's in this industry in beta stage, so it's very noisy, it's got lots of risk attached to it, and it makes companies nervous. But we can all see the potential. So having seen that, we set about understanding what was the best way of leveraging all the capability around AI for the benefit of companies, and then seeking to make that easier for companies to use. So in its simple form, Aibly is a platform for building and deploying agent workforces to automate a lot of the mundane and time demanding roles in a company. But what we really wanted to see is make Aibly really easy to use, is make the agent building process super easy to use. As a capability you can get into your company today, but building agents is very time consuming. It requires deep IT expertise. It requires a lot of resource. And that's something that most businesses don't have easy access to. So what the platform does is allow ordinary business departmental leads, administrators to configure and build their own agent workforce in a drag and drop form, all built on no code, to configure their own teams by simply pulling them down into a new workforce, giving them a task, assigning automation levels and workflow, but more importantly, to put in where they want to be, what we call a human in the loop, to make sure they've got the human management factor put in the right place to be approving what those agents are doing. So I guess in summary, what we really want to do is be the interface between businesses benefiting from AI and that noisy, fast-paced world of AI.
Can you, just for my purpose, can you give me an example of what an agent is?
Absolutely. So I think in simple terms, if we gave a ChatGPT a task to summarize, or give me a summary of, say, 20 novels, what the GPT is actually going to do is going to do that very, very quickly, but it's actually going to replicate a lot of the human behaviors the way we would do it. And it would actually miss a lot out. So probably it'd give you a really good summary at the beginning, the characters, the end, but miss the middle bit out. And that's quite similar to what we would do. And it's probably going to be full of errors. As you all know from using GPTs, you need to refine the output and keep at it before you get the right answer. What an agent will do is work as a team. So within that agent set, we'll have a number of experts. So we'll train AI, which effectively little software programs can become experts in their own right. So within that, we can have a literary expert, maybe a translator, maybe a summarizer. But what agents do is they'll cross-validate their work. So they'll check off against each other before it comes back. What they'll also do is learn. So as they do make the odd mistake, and we will correct it, it won't make that again. So if you say, for example, use something on a GPT, and you notice it's made an error, you'll tell it to correct that error. It will correct the error. When you come back to a new session and do another prompt, it's forgotten that. It's not learning from you. So the agent workforce is validating, it's ensuring a much higher output, and it's working autonomously. So they can autonomously work with each other, assigning each other tasks and improving each other's work.
Okay. And you talked to me about, I mean, obviously we've had chats previously, and you talked to me about LLMs and which LLM you should use. And I'm probably in the basic chat GPT user, but there are lots of other languages or LLMs.
And there are going to be a lot more. I think that's probably what we're seeing is the rise of the massive scale of investment. As these language models become more powerful, they're requiring more investment to become more powerful and continue to grow. But that does present some choices for us. We've now got options about which language model to use, and there's pros and cons between all of them. We've obviously got the open source, the closed source, or the public and the private. They're going to present some decisions that businesses will need to make, and we'll need to make some assessments on how they're handling data, how they're training. Are they training? Are they improving on your data? That's going to present probably the biggest question. But what we've done at Aibly is we wanted to remove that reliance on one or two particular language models in the back end. So the agents will leverage the computing power of the language models in the background. But what we wanted to do is identify which of those language models might be more suited to one particular task. And that's what we're seeing in the way these language models are developing. Is some are better at one thing than another. Some have got better privacy than the others. Some have got better security. So we want to identify the best suite, or curate the best language models depending on the task. So in simple terms, where we've instructed our agent workforce to perhaps undertake some market research, some summarizing for us, creation of a white paper, and then publish that online, I think we'd probably look to see those agents leaning into one particular language model per task, depending on which language model is best suited for that piece of work. So I think what we wanted to do is have no single reliance on one or two vendors, because we have to remember AI is in beta stage. This is a whole industry in beta, and they do go down from time to time. We've seen that quite a lot recently, especially with OpenAI and Anthropic. So we want to remove that reliance, remove that sort of single point of failure, and allow our agents to make the decision around which is best suited. So increases single uptimes, but it also increases the output of the work that the agents are delivering.
Okay. I'd be interested to know what the statistics are about how many people use ChatGPT in a work environment, and what are the risks attached to that, and also I guess what are the opportunities attached to that. And then I guess the final piece of that question is, how does Aibly help provide some insurance or security around that?
There's plenty of statistics around the number of people using ChatGPT in a business environment, and I think the most terrifying one is the number of people using it when it's prohibited or banned. I think we've all worked out that it's a great tool. It's a really good tool to help us be more productive. It's a good starting point for a lot of the work we might be undertaking, but we're seeing more and more businesses lock down or have a much more sort of secure and rigid approach to using AI in their business. So we're seeing that being locked out of a lot of companies. However, it's then being used in the background for perhaps our own company GPT. So we're seeing that grow a lot, but we're also seeing a lot more resistance at the same time. So it's a really interesting picture. And in terms of adoption, which is how I'd look at that, the adoption rates of GPTs, or more predominantly agent workforces. And just to be clear, the agent workforce, what we call agentic workforce in a business, that is the future of AI in a business. It's using agents is really going to be how AI pushes forward in productivity for companies. So in terms of an agent workforce, we're seeing really high adoption rates in enterprises, 50 to 60% at the moment. But on the SME level, it's more like 20 to 30. And that's a really interesting picture for Aibly. And again, that's another driver for the business coming to be, because what we're seeing is the smaller businesses being left in the wake of the larger enterprises. And it's obvious when you uncover that why that is. It's because the larger companies have the resources, they have the capital available, and they have the expertise in-house to enable themselves to be a fully agentic business. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. Obviously, the SME doesn't have that. They're not having the available cash and not having the available resources. And also because we're an industry at the beginning of its, at the very beginning, we don't have a huge pool of AI talent to draw on. This is a really new part that we're just starting to train people out of education to be in AI. So it's a really challenging time for small businesses. The appetite's there. We know the demand is there, but those barriers to adoption are where we'll focus Aibly predominantly, because they're not insignificant.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm looking to bring AI from a predictive forecasting capability into ConnexionCFO, and I think one of the risks is if I try to do that myself, I probably won't get the best out of the data scraping and data searches that I need to bring in. So I guess the logical choice would be to use external advisors or experts, because I guess it enables me to narrow down that the source of data, which can add value, and B, how I can interpret that data to make better decisions. But then I guess there is a piece there at some point that in the short term, whether that's 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months, or 36 months, that we will need advisors. But I guess there will become, at some stage, AI will actually become the advisors for us.
Absolutely, that's undoubtable. And just to pick up on the earlier point you said, there's a really interesting report from Forrester recently that said 3/4 of businesses going it alone or DIY building agentic workflows or enabling AI in their business will fail. It sounds on paper like a really dramatic headline, and it's quite a claim, but when you uncover what's behind that, it actually makes a lot of sense. There's so much risk involved in building AI into your company when you don't have the levels of expertise, and predominantly there are things around data security, privacy. Are you sharing your confidential client information with that language model? Is that language model training your data? Are you using some tools on other platforms that will share everything you do? And we've seen many courses that are available online that you can pay for. You can put your team on them, but they're actually teaching really unsafe practice. I think we have to remember it's a bit like the Wild West at the moment. This whole industry is full of some cowboys at the moment, and there's a lot of risk that businesses can walk into unwittingly. So I think that's probably where that report's come from, and we have to be really careful how we approach enabling AI in a business. But it's exciting, it's a beginning of a new era. It's almost, I think we can think about it like the Industrial Revolution. This is another step. We need to be optimistic about it, but just be realistic about the risks and approach them with the right expertise in the room. So to come to your last point around advisory, that's another element we saw as being really important, because having that guided safe hand when you're taking that AI journey is really important, not just from the tech and the security, but how do you look at AI as a completely new way of working? I think that's probably one of the biggest barriers outside of the tech that SMEs and even enterprises see today, is the change management piece. So we can all look at AI, look at a GPT, or look at an agent workforce delivering some tasks at super accelerated speeds. And what most companies are doing at the moment is looking at it to speed up what we do today. And that's the quick win. That's what AI can do. The real benefit and the real win we'll all get out of this is if we reimagine the way we use it. How do we retrain our workforce to work with AI? I mean, we want AI. We want our future workforces to be enabled by AI. We don't advocate this concept of replacing them for automation and cost saving. That's not what we see as the future. We see a retrained or augmented or upskilled workforce really leveraging and benefiting from those tools to increase productivity. But that's going to take training. It's going to take understanding. It's going to take a bit of business process redesign. Putting agent workforces into your team's process needs some clever thinking, and that needs to be done sensibly. And it needs a lot of sort of assessment of individual companies. And I think that's where the advisory bit's going to be really important over the next 18 to 24 months, is helping businesses work out, how do we bring this new capability into our company safely, and where do we put it for the best impact and the best return?
Yeah, there's an interesting question, because if I think through the role of the CFO, and let's say, I mean, I've never done an IPO, but I have a number of, and I know IPOs aren't the flavour of the month at the moment, but I've never done an IPO. But let's just say I wanted to use AI to be able to create some agents or some frameworks around doing an IPO. I guess the domain expertise for that advisor to be effective, they really need to be working with somebody who has that really strong domain expertise, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And just think of AI as it's a tool. but a tool needs an operator. But the operator in this instance can set tasks for those agents to go and carry out autonomously. But what we've still got is that human overseeing and managing that agent flow. So if it's something like IPO, or if it's something like VCs identifying the best opportunities in the market, we're talking about sifting through vast amount of data, a lot of complex number crunching. There's some heavy lifting to be done there, but that still needs an expert to drive and instruct AI tooling to do it properly.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just my personal view. I think you can see in the role of the finance team, AI is going to provide some automation, and that's making things go faster and more streamlined and more efficient. But and then the next evolution is, how do we use AI to help us make better decisions, and probably be able to make some predictions or some forecasts. Or so, for example, if somebody's going into the USA, why would you go into this state versus that state? And it probably enables us to, and this is more data mining than it is AI, but it probably enables us to say, actually, we're going to go to Chicago over California because the cost of recruiting people is less, the taxations are favorable, there's innovation grants, etc. But that's, at this stage, it's still, I guess it's, we need to be able to bring into that type of data to make better use of AI.
Decision making is a really interesting one. I think that's, whilst there's capability today to really use AI to support some really senior leader or senior business decision making, I think that's what we're going to really see as the future benefit. I've got this view that we're all going to have our own personal assistant within the next 12 months. And that's going to be an incredibly powerful assistant who will train with us in what we do in our day, and we'll train them on the way we work and the things we have to achieve. And I think that's what's going to really see us change the way we work, is because that decision making is going to be guided by that assistant, because they've got the ability to assess vast amount of data, but give really well thought out, reasoned and meaningful responses, which then we can make a decision on. I think that's going to be one really huge win, especially in business, is that we really lean into a decision making support agent or an assistant that just is a tap on the shoulder. It's a guide.
I definitely look forward to that particular agent. So Stuart, in 12 months' time, you just essentially, where will Aibly be, and what does good look like for you?
Huge question. I think we'll have moved the business forward in line with the pace of development of AI. And I think that's really important for us, is that we need to make sure that we stay as that interface, we stay as that safe pair of hands for businesses to enable themselves with AI. It's a big piece of work to integrate a new thing like AI in your business, and it needs to be done with safe hands. So I think for us in 12 months, I would like us to be in a real position of credibility, to be able to be seen as a really safe pair of hands for a company, that we can help them find the right way of adopting or leveraging AI capability in their business, but do that with some real expertise. So give them the really strong suite of tools around the advisory piece. So that's building out rigid AI roadmaps. How do we increase the business output through AI over a long period of time? But also to have enabled a lot of companies to be able to do that themselves. And that goes back to the platform. We want businesses to be able to do that themselves. So 12 months, I think we'll have positioned ourselves as a really credible partner for companies, to guide them in their adoption of AI tools into business, but also to have given them the tools and upskilled their workforce to be able to set those agents off to increase all their productivity.
Yeah. And I met a number of businesses over the last 6 months who are having an AI focus, and from what I can sense, investment is an ongoing process. So are you looking to raise investment funds at the moment?
Aibly, absolutely, yeah. Aibly's in the middle of a seed round at the moment, so we're speaking with VCs and angels right now. It's a self-funded business to date. We've obviously got working prototypes and tools that we've been working with our charter partners. So we've got a really great pool of some supporting partner companies who are really committed to take on board the platform and to work with us through our UAT and the product development. So we're aiming to have the product on the market as an MVP in the spring of next year. We've got the advisory capability functioning at the moment, but what we're looking for is that fundraise right now to get the actual product built.
Oh, brilliant. Well, if there's anybody out there who's looking to invest in an AI platform business, certainly make contact with Stuart. Stuart, that's unless there's any final things you'd like to say, I'm very comfortable with our conversation today. I'm a pretty big fan of what you're doing. And I look forward to maybe doing another one of these in 12 months' time, and we can give a bit of an update on where Aibly is.
Thanks, Peter. Enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.